It's such an exciting time to be here at Sesame Place because they've renovated the street portion of their amusement park, and we are in the midst of celebrating Sesame Street's 50th anniversary coming up in November. So the two events happening sort of close together are fabulous. I think the show has lasted 50 years and will continue to last for 50 years is because it always changes to address the needs of the current crop of children. And of course, you have to know that the Muppets are the heart and soul of the show, and there's an irreverence to them I think that people like, all people all over the world. We love it when Cookie Monster goes nuts and eats all the cookies. We think it's zany, and I think children like to see that kind of out of controlness. It makes them feel superior because they're not going to do that.
What makes Sesame Street a special place to work is I love kids. I love the idea of educating kids and making them smarter, stronger, and kinder, which is sort of our mission statement. And, you know, you get to play with Muppets and monsters all day. And so the core lessons that we teach are something that I think everybody should have to move on into life for both education and emotional purposes.
Hello. I think that the younger people are exposed to different people, living different lifestyles, the more comfortable they are with it. I have been to places in the Midwest where there aren't hardly any people of color, and they said to me, "You were the first Puerto Rican I ever saw." And I'm thinking, is that possible? And I'm thinking, maybe I was the first Puerto Rican they saw as a full human being. And I think that that's what the power of Sesame Street was. And the earlier people get that understanding, the better off the United States will be and the world.
Oh, hi. Welcome to Sesame Street.
We live in a diverse world. We live in a diverse country. And so to be able to see so many different types of people represented is super important. So for me, being Japanese American, you know, to be sort of the Asian American representation on the show is so important. I've had so many Asian American parents come up and say how much that meant to them. But I feel like I'm just another person in this beautiful fabric that we've woven and created. So I'm honored to be a part of that fabric. Yeah, and that's why I love the show so much.
I've had many wonderful encounters with fans, and the most touching one was from a fan who revealed that she was raised in a tumultuous household, and she said that her 1 hour of Sesame Street a day was her one moment of peace, and that was very touching for me to hear. And probably my funniest anecdote is when I asked a kid what his name was, and he said, "You know my name." And he also asked me what I thought of his new sofa, because he assumed that I could see him as clearly as he could see me.
So one of my favorite moments of the show was actually just a couple of years ago when we brought Julia, our Muppet with autism, onto the show.
Who's this?
Oh, this is our friend Julia.
I get to do a lot of interaction with her, and I just think it's so important that we have her represented on the show. And I've had so many parents and kids and adults on the spectrum come up to me and just let me know how much they appreciate being represented on the show, and that just makes me feel so good.
Julia's just concentrating on her painting right now. You guys, you're all doing a great job.
So many wonderful guest stars on Sesame Street, and I have to say that I was really thrilled to see Tony Bennett, because Tony Bennett was famous when I was a little girl.
Sky sure looks beautiful tonight, Mr. Bennett.
Oh, it sure does, Big Bird.
So to see him come on Sesame Street and sing a beautiful song was wonderful.
Oh, hey, hola. This is my friend, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Hi, everybody.
My favorite Supreme Court Justice, Sonia Sotomayor, when she came on to the show, and I hadn't been writing for several years, but I went to the producer and I said, I have to write this one. You have to let me write this one. And we have become friends, and we refer to each other as the other Sonia from the Bronx.
The A-Team!
I wasn't supposed to be filming, and at the last minute they said, hey, Alan, can you come in? And I was like, no, I'm going on a plane flight. I can't. I'm doing this other gig. And they're like, it's with Ryan Reynolds. Like, I will be there. What was so great about it is that he's just a big goofball as well. So he's so funny, you know. And so he was this big letter A. We were doing a riff on the A-Team, which was an old TV series. Sesame Street is turning 50 years old this year, and I think why it's still around is that we still have many things to say, that society is constantly changing and issues that arise for kids are constantly changing. And so we try to be on the forefront of that and create shows around those topics, like autism, like foster care.
You have a place at our table.
I think that as long as there's a need to bring up these subjects, I think that's why Sesame Street has been around and will still be around, hopefully, for another 50 years.